S&P 500, just as anticipated, had that kinetic rebound at that level of support. We have been inside of this bullish channel on the S&P 500, as we can see on the daily time frame, and we have been going from support, from that support to resistance, and then support, and then to resistance, and then we had a really nice consolidation, bull flag consolidation, that led to some nice upside towards resistance. And now, after 2 weeks of downside correction, we are back down to the support level of the bullish channel, held really well, had a nice gap up, and maintained that gap up heading into today's trading session. As we can see on the 5-minute time frame, we did sell off, but ended up just double bottoming back up and consolidated for the rest of the session. So what does that mean? What does today's closing session mean for the S&P 500? If we look at the S&P 500 as well as QQQ on the 5-minute here, SPY ended up showing more strength, and the reason why SPY had more strength than the S&P 500 is because not only were tech stocks doing great and propelling the S&P, but we also had industrials. We had consumer discretionaries with Amazon and Tesla, which was up 5%. We had industrial stocks that was up over 1%, which also contributed greatly to the increase of the S&P 500. We had the real estate sector, we had the utility sector, we had the healthcare sector, we had the financial sector. So all of these sectors were benefiting the S&P 500 and pushing the price up. We're sitting above the 20 EMA line here, as we can see on the daily time frame. And now it all depends on how Tesla and Google earnings are going to report on Tuesday after the bell. So heading into tomorrow's trading session, depending on how those two report, if we get a mixed report, then this would just be a bear flag, and we will lose this bullish channel and sell off all the way down to the 530s area for the next 2 weeks. This rebound so far looks nice, and bulls are stepping in. If we look at QQQ as well, QQQ also inside of this bullish channel, we had a nice rebound right at that level of support on QQQ. We bought a QQQ call right down here on Friday session at the retest of that big support level, and right at this bullish engulfing candle, taking out that prior supply. On the intraday 5-minute time frame, we ended up picking up an August 16 495 call, which we ended up doing really well into today's trading session. We sold that call right at the very peak of today's session. We sold it at, I believe, 520, which was an amazing trade there. We made some really nice profits, over a 75% profit in an overnight trade. We are seeing this rebound off of that support, and I think with the sell pressure being flushed out and the TTM squeeze going from the overheating indicators, as we can see here with the light red bars, to now flushing the red selling, this is a good sign for the bulls. That means that there is less selling pressure and we can see more upside tomorrow. So if we do see more upside on QQQ, what are my overhead resistance levels up ahead that I will be watching? Well, for QQQ, I will be targeting 488.23 resistance, which is $5 from here. And for the S&P 500, for SPY, the level that I'm watching for as a firm resistance level where I think bulls will have a very difficult time to penetrate is going to be 558.77. So these are my two resistance levels. And if the S&P 500 shows weakness at these levels, and we clearly see that we are failing to break out, then I'm not going to be in the trades. And what I will instead do is wait for Google and Tesla to report earnings. If those two report earnings and we do well, then I will anticipate us breaking this resistance at 558.77 and bulls really being back with strong momentum so that they can fill the gap at 565 before the other major earnings that are due next week with Apple, Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon. And if those earnings go well, we could even continue this uptrend where we will retest the 575 area and pretty much resume this bullish channel here that the S&P 500 as well as QQQ has been trading inside of. But please do keep in mind, okay, team, do keep in mind that if Tesla or Google report mixed earnings, there's going to be a lot of investors that are going to de-risk. And what de-risking means is that they're going to sell their positions so that they can buy much lower. They're going to cut their risk, and cutting their risk means selling a lot of their positions in the market. So we want to be careful for that, and we want to be part of it and selling as soon as we get any mixed feelings from those two earnings that are being reported tomorrow. So please do keep in mind, so far, team, we are still maintaining the bullish channel. We have regained the 20 EMA line, and so far it looks like bulls are going to advance in tomorrow's trading session towards 558.77. So the way that you can trade tomorrow's trading session is you can draw your line here, draw your line above this level here at 554.64, which is today's closing session. And heading into tomorrow, if we see that bulls are clearly digesting very well above this level of resistance that has turned into support, that bulls tried to turn into support in the last 3 hours of the market, if we maintain and we get above 555.29 on the 5-minute time frame, closing a strong green demand candle above that, then I'm going to trade the breakout of this move towards this resistance level at 557 to 558 area. Because we have a big supply candle there, I think we're going to have a very difficult time to penetrate that level of resistance. And I think that's where everything will come to a halt, and it will all depend on how the earnings will turn out on Tuesday after the closing bell from Google and Tesla. So please do keep that in mind. This is what the market is waiting for. And depending on how those two earnings are going to report is going to make all of the differences. So this level of resistance here, again, we have 558.77 as resistance. So heading into tomorrow's trading session, if bulls do break 555.29, I'm going to target 558.77, where I anticipate major overhead resistance at that level. And I will de-risk my positions and take it easy from there. Now, let's take a look at the market leaders today. What led the markets? Well, as we can see here, a lot of tech stocks that also account for chips. The XLK technology sector, which is one of the 11 sectors of the economy, with Microsoft being 22%, NVIDIA being 19%, Apple 4%, almost 5%, AVGO being 4%, ADBE 2.5%, AMD 2.5%, CRM 2.5%, Oracle, QCOM 2%. These stocks here, all of these tech stocks here are green today, as we can see, and they're looking good so far. They are looking like they can see more upside tomorrow. The TTM squeeze fire to the downside, and bulls have reset that selling pressure, and they can see some some corrective move to the upside. Before the market closes on Tuesday, you want to be careful. You want to de-risk a lot of your positions that you think are going to have a heavy risk, and you're going to wait it out. You want to be reacting to the data and not in the front lines and pretty much getting devastated in the front lines without further confirmation, without the confirmation or the follow through of smart money participating with you. I think we can get more upside tomorrow, but do be careful for any potential sell-off in the last hour. Okay, in the last few hours of the market, we can potentially sell off, and we want to be careful not to get trapped or hold positions into those big earnings, those two big earnings that are being reported. Now the XLK rebounded right at support, and that's why we can get that kinetic energy tomorrow, so we can get that TTM trend going. Now another sector that led the S&P 500 today was consumer discretionaries with Amazon, Tesla. Tesla was up 5% here. Tesla has earnings tomorrow. We made a really good trade. We made a good put trade on this move here from earlier. We ended up we shorted Tesla right over here. We shorted Tesla right over there, and we secured our profits down here, where we made a nice $95. Some traders made $110, but I made $90, and I just cut my trade there. I cut the put trade and made some nice profits. I was happy with it. Another stock that led today's session on the tech side was NVIDIA. NVIDIA is 19% of the XLK technology sector of the S&P 500, and this stock had a beautiful bullish piercing, where we had a big sell-off on Friday's session, closing the session at 117.82, and heading into today's session, bulls were so strong on, I think it was some news that came out where NVIDIA is making a chip so that they can compete in the Chinese market, and chips follow the guidelines, follow the rules for the chip limitation for China on what kind of chips are allowed to be sold in China and what kind of chips are not allowed to be sold. So that's why NVIDIA got some nice upside. We gapped up to 120. Now the good part is here, we gapped up and we didn't give back the gains, and instead what bulls did was they rallied for the rest of the day, and they pushed all the way up towards 124 and closed the session at 123.50, just below the 20 EMA line. So it is going to be very interesting tomorrow if bulls are going to step in for one more day to fill that gap at 126.30 and pause there. I think if we do see bulls stepping in again tomorrow, they're going to target this gap fill there at 126.30. So this is the gap from July 16, which is Tuesday. So last Tuesday, NVIDIA had a massive gap down from 126 all the way down to 121, and then sold off all the way to 116. So It had a big downside, but coming into today's session, we are seeing bulls step in right at that level of support. And since this is the third retest, this means confirmation. And now that we are getting a good reaction, so I would not doubt if NVIDIA does push towards 126.30 tomorrow, filling that gap and then seeing weakness from there. I think once we do fill that gap at 126, that is a great time for bulls to de-risk their positions and wait for those two earnings to be reported before we come back to NVIDIA. So NVIDIA, our target for tomorrow is 126.30 if bulls do show up again and get above the 20 EMA line at 124.18. So you can write this down. NVIDIA is currently trading at 123.50. And if you see them get above this level of resistance or this 20 EMA line behaving now as resistance at 124.20, you can take that trade towards 126.30 right at the gap fill. And this is where you can anticipate bulls to come to a halt or meet overhead resistance. Another stock that also led today's session on the tech side was Qualcomm, QCOM, honest to God, looks really amazing here and can get another update tomorrow. So I am targeting 199 on QCOM. If we do see another green day, my target is 199 on Qualcomm. Now let's take a look at Apple, the stocks that were showing weakness within the tech sector. Apple, as we can see, closed the session red despite the XLK technology sector closing over 2.5%. This weakness is not good because this tells us that bulls are possibly creating this potential bear flag formation that can lead to another sell-off towards 206. The same way that Microsoft sold off. So if we go to Microsoft here, Microsoft was up 1.5% today, but this is because we are very, very oversold. And it is important to note that we believe Microsoft is heading towards 450.39. So if buyers do continue to show up on the tech side of things, we can anticipate a retest of 450 on Microsoft, which is an $8 or a $7 increase. But please do note, once we retest this level there, that big supply zone, this is going to trigger some selling back down. So let's go take a look at what that looks like on the illustration here. This is known as a smart money supply zone. So let's take a look at this is what it is. It's a smart money concept. It's a backtest short strategy, short signal strategy at the supply zone. And the way that it takes place is we have this base drop, and we go back down, retesting this supply zone. And once we get a big supply zone, big supply candle reversal at the retest of that zone, this is our short entry for more downside to come. So if we do get another green day tomorrow on Microsoft and we head towards 450, this is where we anticipate the smart money zone at that supply zone to be tested and followed with more downside. So I'm going to go ahead and change the color to red so that you guys can have a good understanding that this is no different than seeing this drop-based drop, coming back up, retesting that zone, and then going for more sell-off. If we do sell off, we will make a new low below 432 and retest this big support level at 413 area. That would be my target for Microsoft. And this is especially if we get mixed earnings from Google and Tesla. So please do keep that in mind on Microsoft. Now let's go over what other stocks do we need to cover here. We covered Tesla, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple. We also covered some of the leading stocks within the technology sector, such as QCOM, WDC, and so forth. Now, there are some financial stocks that I'm watching. Schwab looks really great here. Schwab sold off on earnings. I'm going to do some research on this and see if this is worth buying the dip. And if it is worth buying the dip, I will share in tomorrow's trading session, in tomorrow's price action analysis. But yeah, so far, team, my thoughts on the S&P 500 is that we can see more upside tomorrow on this kinetic rebound off of that bullish channel rebound. However, please do keep in mind if Google and Tesla report mixed earnings, this will be a solid ceiling of resistance at 558.77, where we can expect a potential bear flag breakdown where we will lose the bullish channel and sell off all the way down to the 530s area on SPY. And that is about a $20 drop from here. So definitely keep an eye out in case earnings are mixed, because this can bring in a lot of volatility to the market. Definitely saw volatility kicking in. Volatility has been amazing ever since Sunday's opening session on futures. So if we go to NASDAQ here, volatility has been really great. This is where the Sunday's session opened. This was Friday's close. This was the Sunday's session. We had big volatility swing up and then big volatility swing down. And then we broke out right over here. And on that breakout, on that breakout here, we had a nice zone formation, and that happened late night in last night, late night at 3 a.m. my time in PST, and we had a nice breakout. So the breakout ended up following through with more upside towards 20,000, 20, and that's where we sold off. So once we sold off, we turned that prior level of resistance into support, printed a nice demand candle there, and that led to the upside back up right into that level of resistance, which we created heading or coming into early session this morning, coming into this Monday morning session. So far, we are trading right at this level, right at this resistance level at the 20,000 mark. And if tomorrow, if bulls do step in, we can go to this level of resistance at 20,164. So if bulls do step in, let's say with Microsoft as well as NVDA to get those tests in at that overhead resistance, this will be our target on NASDAQ. So how am I going to trade it? The only way that I will trade it is if bulls do show up and close intraday 5-minute candles above 20,025 at that level of resistance there. Now let's go take a look at ES, which is the S&P 500 futures. The S&P 500 futures definitely showed more strength than NASDAQ. And the reason why is because it wasn't only tech stocks pushing the sector up, but all of the other 9 sectors as well. The only sector that was red on the S&P 500 on the 11 sectors of the economy was the energy sector. So the energy is oil and gas. That was the only sector that was red for today's session. Now, this level of resistance here has been tested multiple times, and bulls turned it into support. So heading into tomorrow's trading session, if I see that bulls are getting above 5,616 on futures, then I'm going to target 5,626, 29 right at this level of resistance, that level of overhead resistance. And that about concludes my analysis for today, team. There are some stocks that I'm watching for tomorrow. I may trade Amazon. Amazon has earnings next week, and this could be a good one to trade. I think if we buy the dip around 182, I think bulls may step in and break that resistance at 185, use that liquidity to even get to the 187 area before earnings is due next week. The reason why I anticipate this is because the stock really sold off big. We went from 200 to 180 in just about 2 weeks. So less than 2 weeks, we dropped over $20, and I think it can correct back up and even get to that level of resistance at 189.74 for the next 2 to 3 days here. So if tomorrow, if I see that tomorrow the market is showing some positive sentiment, I'm going to buy the Amazon dip around the 180s, 182.50 area, and I'm going to anticipate a breakout of 185 resistance towards perhaps 186 to 187 area, where I will secure my profits right there and then and walk away and de-risk and waiting for Google and Tesla earnings to see how it influences the market. So again, please be careful, team. Do trade the market, just as I said in yesterday's Sunday weekly watch list price action analysis. We want to be de-risking and only reacting and coming back in if we see that Google and Tesla are reporting positive earnings. If they don't report positive earnings and we get mixed earnings, the market can really see overwhelming sell pressure to the downside, considering just how overbought QQQ level is. Now, this is the first rebound that we have got at that level of support at 474.03. However, what we got is we have this potential head and shoulders here. So if we do reject, let's say we come back up to the 488 area and clearly reject, and we get mixed earnings from Google and Tesla, this can really trigger this downside towards this gap fill at 468, retesting the bottom of this bullish channel. And I think if mixed earnings are there, then we can even go down, anticipating this bullish channel to be lost, where bulls are going to retest the prior breakout level at 445. So that would be a $40 drop on QQQ on mixed earnings. So I'm not saying that it's going to happen right away, but it will happen gradually. It'll head towards there, heading into the rest of the Magnificent Seven earnings that are due next week, which are Meta, Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. Sorry, Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, and Apple. And that concludes my analysis for today, team. QQQ, again, is still weak, trading below the 20 EMA line, but bulls can step in towards 488 tomorrow. Take care, all. there wasn't much to share in today's session. However, I will be very, very active for the rest of this week. And if I do see any developments, especially from those two earnings, I'm going to keep us updated in tomorrow's daily price action analysis. I hope you have. Oh, thank you so much, Yodo. I forgot to mention AMD. This stock is right at this level of, so this was the prior breakout on AMD before we got that explosive upside from 150 all the way to 227. And so far, we have come back down to retest that level of resistance, which was the breakout, again, turning it into support. And what I'm seeing so far is bulls are reacting to it. Although the candle is very small, we did have a 3% update. So what I will do heading into tomorrow's trading session is if I see that the market is showing strength and the XLK sector is green, I'm going to buy AMD towards the 160 area, 159 to 161 area for AMD. And the way that I will trade this setup is I'm going to buy the October 18 call, the October 18 185 call at 5.50. This is the contract that I will trade, and it could give us anything from 40 to 60% profit if we do get that retest at the 160 to 161 area that we mentioned. So far, things are looking really good. I was very, very happy to see that some of our teammates are doing really well. I see Jorge just shared his profits, and look at that: SPY 927, SPX 440. Looks like he made some profits on Google as well. Some profits on AMD, some profits on L, which are on our Sunday weekly watch list. And he had an amazing day, closing the session at 12%. Really, really nice. We also saw some other amazing profits from our team. I would like to show you so that our team can be encouraged to do better. I see RBR picked up some NKE calls, some NKE leaps, and this is what I love so much. This trader picked up NKE expiring in June 2025. This is how you want to trade, team. The way that you trade like this is going to really assure you great success in the future, because you're cutting out the factor of time. A lot of traders don't know that, but when you trade short-term expirations, especially when you're buying far out of the money, you're fighting an uphill battle. And even if the price goes in your direction, if it doesn't go in your direction within that moment and that given time, then you are suffering to theta. You're going to be paying interest on that option, which will be an uphill battle. So let's take a look at more profits from our team. We had some amazing traders making some nice profits. Mr. Chicken made profits on PanW and Crowd. Crowd was a great opportunity, and I just was not confident. Now, Team Coin is looking amazing here. Coin has a breaking candle. This is what a breaking candle looks like, and it can see more upside heading into tomorrow's trading session. All right, so looks like another trader here, RRB, another trader made some really nice profits on the L125 call for January 17, 2025 expiration. We are still down 2% on that trade, but the great news is that we recovered $165 today, which is really great. The fact that we recovered this much on something that is so long term, I cannot wait to see how this goes. Another trader here, RRB again, RRB CEO, beautiful gains on today's session, making a nice 6% update. Really great. Dallas was waiting for volume to pick up, and once volume came in, he went in on these trades and made some really nice profits. And Dan Crow also some great gains here, up 7% on his account. And I really encourage our team to continue to trade like this and really maintain your gains. Okay, don't give them back. Don't give back your gains. Here's Tyler here. Tyler blew his account a couple of months ago, looks like, before he joined us. And so far, he's having an amazing recovery. I'm really happy to see that he's up 27%. And I did provide some words of advice here so that he can do better. I said, wow, all good, but don't look at the past. Don't look at the past losses. It will only make you lose more. Focus on the future and take it easy. Recover step by step, trade by trade, and most importantly, always value risk management above greed and other detrimental emotions that can greatly affect the trader. In the long run, this will make you a winner. You will make more money in the future. What you learn and accumulate over the years to increase your knowledge and experience is going to greatly help you make 50 to 100 times what you have lost in the learning process. But we must learn and not repeat the same mistakes more than twice. We must keep that in mind. So very, very happy to see that. And that concludes our analysis for today, team. I hope you have a great day. And I really, really hope this session here encourages you to do better and better heading into the next 2 weeks. Please do note there's going to be elevated volatility. So be careful falling for any of the sides, okay? Trade with the momentum of the market and wait until we get further confirmation. Wait until we get Google earnings and Tesla earnings, and wait until they are positive, okay? If they don't report positive earnings and they report mixed earnings, the market is going to have mixed feelings. So a lot of people will scream, oh, the market's a manipulation and all that stuff. The market is just like you and I. It's traders react, and the participants within the market react, and they want to be the first ones to get out. So if the market starts to become mixed after those following those two earnings, then yes, the market is going to be choppy and the market will seem very off. And that's what I would like to bring to our team. Hopefully you are aware, you got both of those targets on SPY, on lockdown, in case we do go to the upside. And once we hit those targets, I would like our team to take it easy and trade safe until we get those two earnings out of the way. Take care, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, traders. See you in tomorrow's trading session.